In this video, I'm going to discuss GroupBy objects. These are the objects that are returned from the GroupBy method. So if you've been paying attention, you will have noticed that we have not ever stopped just after calling GroupBy. We've always chained the ag method over here. We have not seen what this has produced. So let's go ahead and see what this produces by executing this. There is no data over here that we see. It's just this is a generic object representation that Python uses. And here is the name of the object. It's technically called a data frame GroupBy object. And there actually are series GroupBy objects as well. It's really not important to know this object name at all. You don't really reference it very much. It's not typical to just use this object itself. But I wanted to show you that it does produce something. It's not that this just doesn't produce anything. It does produce a new object. It's a GroupBy object. It has its own attributes and methods. So I just want to, let me just go ahead and assign it. And if you see type of G, you can actually see exactly that. It shows that it is, in fact, the data frame GroupBy object. So what this thing does is, and we've been chaining the ag method, but if you do G dot and press tab, you will see all of the attributes and methods that are available to it. And we're going to go through several of these in future chapters. The only one we've worked with is the ag method, but there are many more here as well. So you can, of course, just chain the ag method. This is the same exact thing that we've done. So you could just say, mean salary. This doesn't change anything. It's just a different way of calling it salary and mean, and you'll get that same result. So G here is just this part. So I'm just kind of breaking it up into two steps over here instead of just chaining it like I normally do. It says atypical, you will not really do this. Really, the only reason I sometimes do this, or one of the reasons, is to just to explore the attributes and methods over here. So just to show you, there are a couple of things over here. So n groups is an attribute, and I'll just tell you the number of unique groups there are. So there's 9 groups. You can actually see the group locations. So this is g.groups. This is an attribute that shows the dictionary. It has a dictionary of the group name and it's all of its locations. So these are the index values over here. So the first fire department employee is at 8. And then 11 and so on. You can actually use it just like a dictionary. This is, again, not very important, but just you can explore your GroupBy object over here. Now I do have a link in the documentation to the attributes and methods. So you can see here, Pandas has its own area over here. It does also call them GroupBy objects. And it has, it breaks them up into these, aggregation methods, and many other methods as well. So it does have its own section in the documentation that you can explore a little more. I just called groups. I also called n groups over here. Actually, they don't even list. It's interesting. They don't even list n groups, but it is actually an attribute, as you can clearly see over here. So anyways, so this is the GroupBy object. We just don't typically assign it to a variable. The typical usage is just to do this all in one, like this, and get the result like that. But it can help to assign the GroupBy object to a variable, press dot and then tab, then you can see all of the available attributes and methods. So this is something I actually kind of like to do from time to time, just to get a look at them, because it doesn't always show up if you press dot and tab, although here it does. So depending on which version of Pandas will get you that, but it's not showing the documentation here. I'm trying to press shift tab tab. So that's actually why I like to do this, because if you can pull up a method, press shift tab tab, then you can go ahead and reveal the documentation over here. So this is actually really one of the few reasons why I will assign it to a variable like that. All right, so that is a little bit more on the GroupBy object, which is the result of just calling GroupBy itself.